All right, it looks like we have some people trickling in here. We'll just wait another minute before we get started. All right, we've got a good amount of people here. So welcome everyone. I hope you've been enjoying this conference so far. I know there's been a lot of wonderful sessions and I'm really excited to have you here at this one. So today we're going to be talking about feature overview. So we're going to really go over some of the features that we've launched on both Showbie and Socrative in the last year, and then take a look at what's to come in the future here. So my name is Morgan Patzelt. I've been with Showbie since June of 2017, so I'm just coming up on my 4th year anniversary with Showbie. I've moved around a little bit, had a couple different roles at Showbie, but I've been a product manager for the last 2 years. So for those of you who don't know, a product manager is kind of the intersection of the company, the development team, the designers, and the users. So I spend a lot of my time talking to users, learning about how you're using Showbie in your classroom, what's working, what's not, what are the problems that you're facing. And then I work with the development teams and we go through these problems and we try to solve them together and come up with solutions that'll help you use Showbie in your classroom, be more effective with your students, and ultimately save you time. And so those are where new features come from in Showbie. So today, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about a little bit about our process for how we prioritize new features or enhancements, what that process kind of looks like on our side. And then we're going to go through some of the features that we've delivered in about the last year, just in case you've missed anything. If you missed any of the announcements, we want to make sure that you are using Showbie to its fullest and Socrative as well. And then you guys are going to get an exclusive look at what we are working on right now and what's going to be coming out soon for Showbie. And we'll save hopefully a little bit of time at the end if you have any questions at all. So let's kick it off here. So let's talk about how we prioritize features. So when we are looking at problems here, we are really trying to understand the deeper underlying problem that you as teachers are experiencing. So when we get a feature request, we really try to understand what that feature request, what's the problem behind it. Adding a feature is not the problem that we're trying to solve. The feature itself is a solution to that problem. So by understanding deeper what the problems are that you are facing, we're then able to come up with multiple solutions to that problem and be able to work through them and figure out what's going to be the most effective solution to that problem for the most amount of people. Or perhaps it's going to be what's the solution that we can get out the fastest to you so that we can start solving this problem for you. So through our user interviews, through our feature request forms, through the emails and stuff that we get, we're ultimately trying to identify these problems. And some of them you don't even know that you're experiencing in them. So for example, like if you have this day-to-day problem that you've just gotten used to, it's just an annoyance in your day-to-day life, but you don't even think about it anymore. Sometimes when we're doing these user interviews, we'll actually hear these problems that might not even register to you as a problem anymore, but that they're things that we know that we can fix. So we really try to listen to what are your experiences and how are you using this product in your classroom and how can we make that better using technology. And so we really want to understand how you are using our products in your classroom so that we can optimize those processes and enhance our current features or products. Um, so we look at things like, are you using the features the way that we expected you to? If you are using, say, the groups function for something completely different than what we kind of anticipated it for, then that might identify a need that's not being met or that you are creating a hack for. So a lot of the times when you're kind of creating workarounds, whether that's within the app or using other apps, or even pen and paper sometimes, if you're kind of creating a hack around that, that's a really great indication to us that there's a problem there that we can likely solve. So I mentioned a few things here, but how do we learn about our teachers? And it is really from you guys. Over the past year, we've gotten over 2,600 feature requests. That's just through the forms on our website. So if you didn't know they're there, you're actually able to request a feature from both the Showbie and the Socrative website. You're able to go in and explain what that feature is and why do you want it? Why would that solve your day-to-day problem that you're experiencing? We also do user interviews. So in the last year, we've done over 130 user interviews, and we've processed over 15,000 survey results. So we send out a lot of surveys. You may have noticed them. They pop up in the bottom corner of your Showbie. You might recognize my face from these intercom pop-ups that pop up here, asking you guys to fill out surveys. And these really help us identify new needs, learn about your experiences, and really ultimately prioritize which features we build. So thank you so much to anyone who has ever filled out one of these surveys. We really do look at them and analyze them and use them quite often in our work day to day here. So look for them. If you see them pop up, please fill them out. They might not just be from me. There's some other colleagues that also send out surveys, but they really do influence what we do at Showbie. Ultimately, everything we do is listening to the teachers and trying to deliver you value. At the end of the day, we're not just building features for ourselves because we think they're cool. We're building features for you that we have determined will have value for you. So the best way to get your opinion, if you're facing these problems or if there's something that's not just not right, is to fill out the feature request form, to fill out these surveys. Usually at the end of the survey, there's a little option to participate in a user interview. We are very fortunate that we have a lot of people sign up for them. So it may take a few times to actually get through, but we definitely appreciate every single bit of effort that you put in. It really helps us put in a lot of effort to serve you. So please sign up for our user interviews, fill out our surveys and our feature request forms. We really do read every single piece of feedback that comes in. That is our job, and we are so honored and grateful that you take the time to tell us what you want and what you need. So now let's start going through what is new. This has been a big year for Showbie, as I'm sure it's been a big year for you. We have a bunch of new features that we've released in the last year. We saw a bunch of new needs come up as a result of having to move to distance or hybrid learning. And so our teams have worked super hard to get you features as fast as you can to help you really adjust to this new landscape, just as we are adjusting to it as well. So I'm going to start with Showbie here, and we're going to go through some of the new features that we released. Some of these are about a year old, so you may have already seen them before, but hopefully you learned something new here and it'll help you in your classroom. So the first one is the clear class discussions. We heard when distance learning first happened that there was a lot going on in the class discussion. It was kind of your lifeline to your students and for their students to you. So being able to clear all those posts so you can start fresh each day or each week or whatever works for you. You're able to do that by going to the 3 little dots in your class discussion and clearing all posts. We also added pinned posts to class discussion. So similarly, this was where a lot of announcements were being given or instructions, and we want to make sure that those pinned posts stay at the top so they don't get buried by students saying hello to each other or chatting or asking questions, we want to make sure that the most important information is remaining at the top. So you're able to pin any post and they appear at the top. They appear in the order that you pin them. So you can use that to your advantage to order them the way that you want. If they're not in the right order, just unpin them and pin them again in the order that you're looking for. We had the hybrid, hybrid feature, the video chat. So some of you may have tried this out during our trial period or have access to it through your Showbie hybrid subscription. But you're now able to start a video chat in either a student folder, your class discussion, or in a group, and be able to set up a really secure, easy, quick video chat right away. We also added a screen recording feature on iOS. So you're able to record your face or not if you don't want to, be able to speak over while you're navigating through the app. So this is really great for giving feedback, showing your face to your students, or for them to show their face to you if you are apart and not in the classroom together, to really explain concepts or understanding or ask questions. We also added a video editor on iOS, so we saw a lot more videos being uploaded as a result of distance and hybrid learning. So we want to give you options to change the size of them. Perhaps they were taking too long to upload, especially with limited Wi-Fi capabilities. So you're able to choose smaller or higher video quality. You're able to trim them so that you only have what you're hoping to share with your students or your students with you. So this is available on iOS automatically when you upload or record a video. We also added video support, or we basically beefed up our video support. So you should now be able to watch any video on any device. That includes on the web now as well. We basically extended our support for a lot more video types. We also added the assign to no one. So this was a big feature. It's actually a very small feature, but I've heard that it has big impact in the classroom. So just as you are able to share with everyone or a small subset of students, you're also able to share documents or comments with no students at all. So this is really great if you want to upload a rubric to an assignment and you don't want your students to see it, or if you want to upload an answer sheet while you are setting up the assignment, and then not have the students see the answers until we're done the assignment, and then you can make that accessible to them. So this is really great for adding resources just for yourself or your co-teachers to look at. We also added blank document creation. So now you're able to quickly upload a blank document. You can make it portrait or landscape. We also have a bunch of styles, including grid paper, isometric grid, lines, music sheet notation, and you can add pages. So you can make little workbooks and add those to your Showbie accounts. So both you and your students are able to do this. We also added the activity center. So the activity center here is this little bell in the top right corner that basically captures all the activity within Showbie. And I'm very aware that there's a lot happening within Showbie, and sometimes the activity center can be overwhelming. That's something that we've heard from teachers time and time again. So I want to highlight a feature. We've added a couple enhancements to the activity center since we released it. So if you haven't explored these since the initial release, this might be a great thing to go back and check on. But we actually added some filters. So the filters are under this little funnel. If you click on that, you're able to filter notifications by classes, assignments, students, and you're able to select more than one. So I know a lot of you will be co-teachers with other teachers in your school so that you can share resources, but you don't necessarily want to see notifications from the other co-teachers in your school. So you're able to filter out the classes that are relevant to you, and our settings will save your filters. So if you even set them on, say, your iPad app and then go and access Showbie from the web, your filters will be saved across sessions, so you don't have to go and resetting those. But if you, for say, wanted to go look at a particular assignment, you're able to filter by that assignment and go see what has happened. So we've added a few enhancements to that, and we actually have a few more coming out pretty soon that I'll get to later. But we really want to make sure that you're able to stay on top of everything that's happening in your classroom. We also added generating QR codes for your entire class. So for those of you who don't know, your students are able to log in using a QR code. If they're struggling entering their username and password, or just forgetting it, or just struggling with that workflow, you're actually able to generate them a QR code that if they scan it, it'll bring them right into their Showbie account. No need to enter a username or password. So this is really helpful, especially with those younger students, to get them into Showbie and start the learning a little bit quicker. So you're actually able now to log in with QR codes on both iOS and web. Web was something that we've added pretty recently here. But you're also able to generate QR codes all at once. So you can hit this Get QR codes, and you're actually able to print off a sheet that has all your QR codes for your class or any ones that you've generated in this option here. At once, you can print those off, cut them up, hand them out to your students, or even take screenshots of them and email them to your students or their parents to help with that login flow. We also added a fun new layout for iOS 14 or above. So we now have this sidebar that appears that you can swipe away or swipe in, which makes navigating to other classes a lot quicker and simpler. The main navigation menu remains the exact same. We just have this now other option to navigate to locations a lot quicker. So this is available on iOS 14 or above. We also have what's called a progressive web app. So we made a lot of improvements to the web version of Showbie. A lot of them you won't even notice. They're very under the hood enhancements that make it run a bit more effectively. But one of the great results of this is that you're now able to install the web app. So whether you're using it on a computer or an Android device or even an iPhone device, if you really wanted to, you're able to install the web app version, and it'll save as an icon so that you can easily access Showbie from your home screen. In line with that, we also added push notifications to the web. So whether you're using Showbie on your computer or say an Android device, you're able to install push notifications. So that means you'll get the little notifications that appear up top, letting you know when something has happened. And you're able to toggle which notifications you get push notifications for in your notification settings. So say you only wanted to get certain notifications for a certain class, you can toggle those on and toggle them off for the rest of your classes. So that's what we've been up to in the past year on the Showbie side. I have a lot of new features that we'll be releasing soon or imminently that I'll go through a little bit later. But now we're going to look at the Showbie admin features. So we actually, in the past year, have spun up an admin team in our company that is completely focused to delivering needs for admins. So the first thing they did was create the admin analytics. So they did quite a big beta period with this, testing it out with school administrators to make sure that this had the information that they needed. But basically now from the admin dashboard, there are an analytics option here, and this is available for hybrid schools. So you need to have that Showbie Pro hybrid subscription in order to access this, but it does give you kind of some data analytic oversight of what's happening in your schools. They also recently released the email confirmation feature here. So for those admins in the room here that maybe were aware, we have a verified status, but now we also have a confirmed status. So the difference between these two features are a confirmed status means an email has been sent to the teacher and they have confirmed through that email by following the set of steps that this is a valid email and that they have access to this account. So this is a great way to make sure that these are real accounts, that there was no typo made with the email address, and that they are who they say they are. Verified essentially means that the school recognizes that name and they are eligible to use the Showbie licenses at that school. So this email confirmation is a great way to really secure your school and make sure that people are using the emails that they're supposed to be using, and that they have access to those emails so that they're able to reset their passwords, get access to email notifications, and any other communication that might happen there. So then on to the Socrative features. So for Socrative, in the last year, they released images in questions. So you're now able to add images as answers in a question, which is really great for a variety of topics if you want to show them diagrams or things like that, equations even. You can have students select based on the image that they see. We also added a math editor equation. So we know Socrative is heavily used in the math and sciences. So we wanted to make that super easy to test your students using the proper formation for the equation. So now you're able to add things like square root or exponents and create really nice looking functions in the questions that you're having on Socrative. We also added a new reports customization. So we overhauled the look of the reports modal here, where you're able to then customize what's in the report and what's not in the report, which is really great if you're sharing them with students for review, or if you even just want them for yourself. You have a lot more flexibility now with what you're able to share with those reports. We also overhauled the results grid. You'll probably notice that bit by bit, we are slowly modernizing the look of Socrative, and as a result, adding a lot of great new features. So we cleaned up the results grid here, made it a little bit easier to understand and to digest. And it also set us up for some other features. We also added very recently weighted grades. So for each question, you're able to change the weighting of that grade. So say you have a long answer question that you want to be worth more than, say, a multiple choice or a true or false, you're able to make that question worth more points than the other questions. In line with that, they also added manual grading and partial marks. So before, you weren't actually able to grade long answer questions right within Socrative, but now you are. So you're able to, from the results grid, able to click on the long answer responses, read them, and mark them as correct or incorrect. You're also able to give them partial marks. So say for the 7-point question, if they got part of the answer right, you can give them some points in response to that. And that will get combined with their overall grade for that assessment. All right, so that is what we've delivered in the last year. And now I'm sure what you've all been waiting for, what is coming. So the thing about this is we are always basing what we're building on teacher feedback. So sometimes if we learn something new or something gets prioritized as the new highest priority, things might get adjusted in the order that things get delivered in. So we're pretty confident in the things that are coming out very soon, but things start to get a little foggy as they go out, because we want to make sure that we're constantly learning and listening to teachers and putting prototypes in front of them and really listening to their feedback and adjusting based on that. So this is, to the best of my knowledge, what is coming out in the interim here for all of our product lines, but some of this stuff is subject to change. So first we'll start with the Showbie admins. So the admin team has been very busy building a new admin dashboard. So our old dashboard that's available right now is pretty lightweight, great for visibility of your teachers and distributing licenses and now analytics. But beyond that, there's not a lot of functionality. So we are building it from scratch, going to make it new and pretty, and we're going to start with a visibility layer so that you'll be able to see the teachers in your school as well as the students. And then we're going to start building functionality onto that. So hopefully we'll have some self-serve tools so that setup and management of your schools are a lot simpler. So keep an eye out for that if you are a Showbie admin at your school. There's lots of exciting stuff to come. On the Showbie side of things, we have a lot of features that are getting released imminently here. So the first of which is notification groupings. So like I mentioned before, we know that there are a lot of notifications that come into that activity center. And sometimes it can be really overwhelming to navigate what's important, what you need to look at, what can wait till later. So what we are adding is notification groupings. So what that means is it's going to start grouping notifications that are going to take you to the same location. So if there's a conversation happening, say in your class discussion, instead of having 30 notifications that activity has been happening in your in your class discussion, it's going to group those all together and say Morgan and 29 other students have commented in the class discussion. And then you just you'll be able to see that there's conversations happening there. You'll be able to click on that and it'll navigate you to the class discussion. So these features of these groupings, we're gonna basically roll them out as we build them. So we wanna make sure that we're getting you value as soon as possible. So the first one to come out is the class discussion grouping, and there'll be many more kind of groupings coming out in the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out for that. I believe that one will be, we'll be launching later this week, if all goes well. The next big exciting feature is breakout rooms in our video chat. So you'll also be able to set up your video chat just as you normally have, but you'll be able to set up breakout rooms within those video chats within Showbie. So this is really great for doing group work, discuss smaller class discussions, games, things like that. So keep an eye out for that. Again, the video chat is a Showbie hybrid feature. So you will need to have a Showbie hybrid subscription in order to get access to that. We're also adding language support for Italian, Portuguese, and Polish. So that'll be coming out very soon as well. The next big exciting feature is annotations on the iPhone. So with that, right now, currently with our iPhone app, you're not able to use the annotation tools. That'll be changing very soon here. It's currently right now in beta. So we're getting lots of great feedback and making sure that that is good to go when we release it. So you'll be able to use the pen, highlighter, eraser, all those great annotation tools from your iPhone. So this is great if you're on the go, or if your students, the only device they have access to is an iPhone, they'll be able to access those annotation tools as well. As a bonus feature with this one, it also means that when you're using split screen on the iPad, you'll be able to use those annotation tools no matter what ratio you have. So currently, if you're using the split screen iPad at 50% or less, the annotation tools disappear. So you have to have it bigger than 50%. You'll now be able to use it no matter what size you have your iPad split into. You'll have access to those annotation tools. So that's really great for grading on a rubric, having your students reference a piece of work or a resource while they're completing a worksheet, or even for yourself. So keep an eye out for that. Again, that one's in beta right now, but will be coming soon to iPhone and iPad app. And then the next one for Showbie that I can actually show you is an assignment oversight. So this one here, it basically gives you all the information that you see when you're in an assignment on that student list, but exposes it here across all your assignments. So you'll be able to view all your assignments or all the assignments within a particular folder and be able to see all that. So this will be really great to see which ones you've graded already, who's handed stuff in that needs to be reviewed, who's handed things in late, who hasn't done any work at all, which we know has been a common issue here with distance and hybrid learning. So this is a really great way for you to have a one-stop shop to come in here, see what's going on and where things are at and what needs your attention right now. You'll also be able to export all your grades as a CSV. So you'll be able to export those and use those in any kind of spreadsheet processing app, or hopefully import those into your gradebook systems that you're already using. So hopefully that'll save you some work transferring grades over to other systems that you might be using, and basically just having an overview, a pulse check of everything that's happening in your classroom. So we're currently hard away working at this. We're hoping to have this out to you pretty soon here. So keep an eye out for that. This is your assignment overview. And I see some great comments in the chat. People are excited. And we'd love to hear your feedback when this is out on how you're using it and what we can add to this. So this is something that we are releasing as a pretty lightweight feature. It basically is just exposing current information that you could already access within Showbie, but we think there's a lot of opportunity to build upon this and improve in the future. So we'd love to hear feedback about this. So then for Showbie, this is what we're currently working on. What I can tell you about what's kind of coming next is the next we work in themes. So the next theme we're really looking at is called structure and organization. So what we've learned so far in the last year is that there's just a lot more happening within Showbie than there used to be. A lot more assignments, a lot more chat, and kind of the constraints of setting up your classes and assignments is getting kind of limited. So we have been working with a lot of teachers to learn about the way they're structuring their assignments in their class and how we could help with that. So that's about all I can say on that right now, because that's about all that I know for sure. But it is something that we're looking at as to how we can save you time with setup, organization, as well as navigation for your students. We want to make sure that they're able to find the work that they're supposed to be working on, that they're not getting lost in the app, not needing to navigate a lot, but just be aware, we are aware this is a problem, and we are working hard right now and doing a lot of research on how we can make this better for you and really make Showbie fit the way that you organize your classroom in your head. So that's Showbie. Now let's talk about Socrative. So with Socrative, basically everything we're doing right now, we're really overhauling the visualization of it. So we're modernizing the app, making it look a lot nicer, making it work a lot nicer. It'll work faster and be more intuitive to use, basically with every feature that we add to it. So for those of you who don't know, Socrative is actually an app that we acquired as a company. So we weren't the ones who built it from the beginning. And so basically with every new feature, we're hoping to make it just a little bit better, a little bit nicer, and a little bit easier to use. So keep an eye out for more modernizations. They will come with every new feature that we add. We're also right now exploring more question types. So that's something that we've heard in a lot of feedback and a lot of the survey, that you're looking for more options when it comes to question types. So that is something that we are working on. We're looking at how we can expand our database to handle different kinds of questions and to store those really effectively so that the app will work really quickly. And also which question types are going to have the most value to teachers. So that's something that we're doing a lot of research in right now. And the other thing that we're really looking at is, we know that quiz creation is really time consuming. It does take a lot of time to get an assessment set up and delivered. And so we want to look at ways that we can cut down on that quiz creation time, whether that's adding features to the quiz creation flow to make it simpler or quicker, or looking at ways that you are able to share resources with other teachers. So those are the kind of things. I don't have anything to show for the Socrative one, but those are kind of the ideas that we're looking at. We're really deep in research right now, and I'm really excited about the prospect of what's to come in all of these products here. All right, so that is what I have to say. I do see that there are some Q&A happening. And I can kind of go through those Q&A. If you have any questions, please add those to the Q&A. I can also look through the chat as well. All right, so let's start here. Will Showbie be supporting older iOS versions? My iPad is a bit old. So right now, I believe that Showbie supports as low as iOS 12. Likely support for that will be dropped soon. So basically, as we drop the support, the app will probably still function, but it just won't work the same way. It won't work as effectively, and it won't get any new features. Basically, with the iPad app, you only get access to the new features if you update your app. And I know there are some limitations with older versions of iOS. Unfortunately, it does cause a lot of issues in our systems by supporting old versions, and makes it really hard to add new features by supporting the old version. So we really do take into account, we look at a lot of data of who's still using old versions, are they able to update? And really, as a last resort, we drop support. We don't do it just for fun, that we really do look, and if there's any case that we could continue to support it, then we will. For instance, in this past year, we decided to make a hard decision to not discontinue any support, given that people were using a lot of devices, the only device they had access to, with a lot of students at home and limited device access. We made the conscious decision to make sure that we were supporting as much as we could so that there were no issues with device support. So how does Showbie relate to Canvas? So currently there's no integration there. Hopefully you will be, once the assignment overview is released, hopefully you'll be able to download your grades as a CSV and then upload those into Canvas if that's where you're storing your grades. We don't have any integrations with Canvas or any LMS or SIS or MIS, whatever you're using. But that is something that we are looking to learn more about, and one of the reasons that we're releasing that assignment overview and the CSV export. We'd love to look at ways that we could support integration to, again, save you time, and also look at what are these systems that are being used quite often across our Showbie user base. Are you actually planning on adding media like audio, videos on Socrative, adding a link feature to redirect students to YouTube or other websites? This is actually a feature request that we get quite often, and is something that we are looking into. I believe this kind of falls as one of their options for these other question types. It's one of the ones that they're looking at. I don't think we don't have any plans right now to pursue it, but we actually don't have any plans to pursue any question type. We're still kind of doing more of that broad strokes research to see which of these options we can get out quickly and which of these options are going to have the most value. But I know that that is a common feature request and something that the team is looking at. So when are we going to have the Android app? I knew this one was coming. This is something my team personally and myself have been working on really hard for the last year. It's unfortunately been quite a complicated process, and something that has just been, we've run into a lot of unforeseen issues. So right now you are able to download Showbie as an installed app on an Android device, but we're not in the Play Store yet, but it's something we're actively working on. And I promise we'll get it out to you as soon as we can. It is something that the team has been working on really hard for the last year, and unfortunately it's kind of beyond our control, the complications that we're facing. But we did actually just yesterday release a Microsoft app. So if you're using Windows 10, you're able to download or install Showbie as an app on your Microsoft device. So take a look at that if you're a Microsoft user. Let's see here. I would love equation editor for answers in Socrative, as well as the options for students to upload pictures with their short answers. Those are really great suggestions. I know that those are things that we hear a lot, and I will make sure that the Socrative team hears that feedback. So thanks for contributing that. Hybrid learning meant we created virtual stickers to add a comment to work. Would stickers images be possible as a grading rewards tool? Absolutely. This is something, like you said, that we saw a huge uptake in with hybrid learning. There's just a lot more assignments happening digitally now than that used to be on paper with physical stickers. This is something that we hear a lot, and it definitely is on our radar. It doesn't quite fit into our theme of structure and organization, but it is something that we're thinking about looking at kind of beyond that theme. But I really appreciate that feedback, and we definitely know that there's a lot of need for adding stickers or even just images. Getting those Bitmojis on the files is something that we hear a lot. For Socrative, is it possible to have a refresh function when closing a room so that the same test will stay in the same room and begin with new students? Interesting. Okay, that's a really great suggestion. I'm not actually sure with that question. I will make sure that I'm going to record all of this stuff, all the feedback that we're getting here, and make sure it goes to the appropriate team. That's a really good suggestion. Unfortunately, I just don't have an answer to that one. I'm sorry, Ricardo. So inserting photos again. Yeah, like I said, adding images or stickers, they're kind of in the same vein there, is something that we hear a lot. Great, so that's all the Q&A questions. We have a few more minutes here, so I'll just check the chat. A copy question option on Socrative. Really great suggestion. I think that definitely falls in the line of like creating quizzes quicker. I can definitely pass that feedback on to the Socrative team. I'm unfortunately unsure about the answer if they've looked into that one or not, but I'll definitely pass along all this feedback. Awesome, that looks like all the questions that I see here. Oh, one more buzzer beater here. Will there be a way to time students if they are going to complete an assessment on their own time? Yeah, that's something, again, we have kind of a list of the top feature requests in Socrative. There's a lot of them. The math equations, for example, was one of those that we just had an overwhelming amount of feature requests for it that we couldn't not build it. I think a timer feature is also on that list of frequently requested features. So thanks again for the feedback. For everyone who submitted feedback here, I'll make sure that it gets to the appropriate teammates here. And thank you so much for being here today and for that all that you do. And again, for anyone that's ever given us feedback, whether that was on a user interview or a survey or a feature request, it really, really does make a difference in what we are choosing to build. We're always looking to listen to our teachers. At the end of the day, our jobs is to save you time and make your teaching more effective. And we are very passionate about helping you and helping teaching occur in your classroom. So we are always here and listening to what you have to say. So thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure being here with you all, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. I can stay on for just a few more minutes here, just to see if any last questions come up. All right, that looks like it's it. Thank you everyone for attending today. I hope you have an awesome day.